Wanek about 1985 at the Dallas Furniture Market. I was in line at lunch. This guy behind me asked if he could join me for lunch. The guy was Ron Wanek. Ever since then, Ron has always been available to meet with me at furniture markets in High Point, Dallas, and Tupelo. Ron is the founder and chairman of Ashley Furniture Industries, the world's largest furniture manufacturer and the largest furniture retailer in North America, serving over 155 countries worldwide. Ron partnered with a group of investors to form Arcadia Furniture Corporation in 1970. After ownership and management were restructured in 1976 and 1982, Arcadia and Ashley merged into one company, today's Ashley Furniture Industries. In 1984, Ron established Ashley's overseas manufacturing and distribution capabilities. He was a determination and driving force in laying the groundwork for one of the most incredible success stories in the history of the furniture industry. In 2006, Ron was inducted into the Furniture Hall of Fame. In 2015, he received an honorary doctorate in business from High Point University. In 2020, received the Horatio Alger Award from the Horatio Alger Association of Distinguished Americans. Ron is very active in the day-to-day processes at Ashley and spends a great deal of time focusing on the education initiatives of the company. Ron and his wife, through the Ron and Joyce Wanek Foundation, continue to support a multitude of causes, including education, helping children in need, the arts, honoring our veterans, medical research, and more. It's my great pleasure to introduce Ron Wanek, Chairman, Ashley Furniture Industries.
Thank you, Ron. It's really my pleasure to be with you and the Tupelo Rotary Club today. And anyway, I'm very privileged to present Ashley Furniture to you. So are we going to be able to get this up on the screen?
Whoever is hosting this, it's disabled that I can't pull up the screen. Can someone release that so we can do that? It's saying the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, let me see if I can make you a host.
All right.
I think it's easy to make somebody a co-host, which will allow both parties to do it.
Okay. Oh, now we are. Okay. And bear with me because this is my first time to share like this. So.
Oddly enough, these virtual meetings are working pretty good. We've been doing them since March. I never thought that we'd be able to meet virtually the way we are, but it's probably going to change the way we meet in the future for sure.
Oops. Can you guys see it yet or no?
No, have you clicked on share screen? There's a little green.
As soon as this popped up, let me pull out of this because it took that part away from me. It was there. Oh, here we go.
There. Now it's good.
So now I should be good, I think. Here, let me click on here. Everybody good?
Fantastic.
Okay. Over here now.
Okay, at Ashley Furniture, our vision is we want to be the best furniture company. Our mission is to improve quality, reduce costs, do more business, be profitable, and of course, stay in business. So Ashley is a family company. It's always been a family company. You see on this picture 3 generations. Travis Wagner, who is also in charge of Mississippi manufacturing. You see him on the right. Myself next to him. Laura Forsythe, my granddaughter, who is a VP of Retail Finance. Cameron Wanek, who is Senior Vice President of Business Analytics and Supply Chain supply chain planning, and Todd Wanek, who of course is the CEO today and has been since 2001. So a little bit about me. I grew up. My father was a sharecropper, and you see the farm that I grew up on the left. You'll see there's no electric lights, no electric wires, and anyway, it was a dairy farm. And I didn't get indoor plumbing and indoor electric lights till 1951, and that was a farm that you see on the right. My dad purchased that farm in 1951, and of course things got a little better after that. So my background comes from a dairy background in farming, first years of my life, and I have a saying, Lord, if ever I'm reincarnated, don't put me back on a dairy farm. A lot of hard work growing up. My wife and I have been married for 59 years, and anyway, had a great marriage, and anyway, still married today. And I was lucky in my early career. When I went to work for a cabinet company that made cabinets. Some of you will still remember when we had wood cabinets for TVs and stereos and that sort of thing, and that was our business. The guy on the left there, his name was Bill Werns. He was a great innovator and administrator, and always was looking to the future, and was a great mentor of mine. Guy in the middle on the left there, his name was Rudy Miesbauer. He did the purchasing and was a great administrator. The guy in the middle there was a guy by the name of Bud Vogel, and I worked with Bud and for Bud for a number of years in Red Wing, Minnesota, as was a division of Winona Industries. I got my first promotion in 1962, became a supervisor, went up to Red Wing, Minnesota, started a new plant in 1963, and was superintendent of that plant. Guy on the right there was also one of the partners in Winona Industries, and he was a great engineer. So when you start with a small company and you started from scratch, you obviously do everything. And anyway, they taught me the business the first 9 years of my career, and were great mentors, and later on also backed me in the business when I needed money. I did make them a lot of money, and in turn, they rewarded me by backing me when I needed the money. Carl Weinberger started Ashley Furniture in 1945 in Chicago, Illinois, and I met Carl in 1970. And as Arcadia Furniture Corporation, we manufactured furniture for Ashley and did that until 1976. In 1976, we bought his interests and merged the two companies in 1982 into Ashley Furniture Industries. This was the first building that we started at in 1970. It had 35 employees, about 35,000 square feet. And we manufactured occasional tables, which you see a little picture of on the right, along with a lot of other occasional tables, which are bedroom cocktail, living room cocktail tables and end tables. In Arcadia, Wisconsin, we're away from everything. We don't have raw materials. We don't have a market. The markets are either in the east, the west, or the south. So we had to develop our own transportation fleet. And today we have about 1,050 tractors and about 3,500 trailers that are on the road. But logistics has always been something that's important to our company because of our location in Wisconsin. These are some of the logos that we had throughout our history. As I mentioned, we were Arcadia Furniture, manufacturing for Ashley Furniture until 1976, and then we purchased interest from Carl Weinberger and later merged them into Ashley Furniture Industries. So we manufactured occasional tables until about 1982. And in 1982, we went to the market in Dallas, and guess what we saw? We saw all this flood of products starting to come in from Asia, primarily Korea and Taiwan at that time. And we knew that we were not going to be able to compete. We were not going to be able to compete. They had better equipment, which I didn't know they had better equipment. They had really good business conditions and a better climate to manufacture in. So what I did is I called in our congressman. His name was Steve Gunderson, local fella from here, from this area. And he knew what I wanted. He sat across from the table and he said, you know, I wanted tariffs. And he says, you're not going to get any tariffs. You're not going to get anything from this government. He says, you better figure out how you're going to survive and what you have to do to survive. And if that means going overseas, you better go overseas. Well, I was a guy that didn't even want a foreign car in my parking lot. And I was waving the flag pretty heavy at that time. So I pouted for about 6 months, and I went overseas to look at what they were doing over there, and I was shocked. I was shocked at their factories, the great equipment that they had that was made elsewhere in the world. Now we're talking about case goods equipment primarily, bedroom furniture, dining room furniture, occasional furniture. And I was just shocked. So, you know, what was I going to do? I had just built these large facilities in Arcadia, Wisconsin. I borrowed all the money that I could. The community had backed me. And I knew that I couldn't survive. So after pouting, as I said, for about 6 months, I went overseas and tried to figure out what we needed to do. So we had to change our product line, and we could no longer manufacture occasional tables. The bedroom furniture. Well, bedroom furniture is something that we can compete in because it's got a lot of parts. It's more sophisticated, more complicated. They'll never do this in Asia. So we began our production of bedroom furniture in 1983, changing from occasional tables. And that was really a big struggle for our company. We had to go to higher tech equipment, had to go to metric because all the European equipment was metric. And our people had a hard time making the cultural change, but we did make it. It took several years to make, but we did make it. So what were we going to do in occasional tables, which we made here traditionally, and there was a little bit of a transition period in 1982 to 1983 when we went into bedroom. So we started this company in Taiwan called Ashley Taiwan, and started manufacturing occasional tables. And what you see pictured there was the first table group that we manufactured there. And you see the Taiwan facility there. And anyway, we manufactured in Taiwan from 1984 to 1990. And in 1990, because things changed and we're moving from Taiwan to China, we then sold that facility. In 1986, we made the largest investment ever made in the furniture industry here in Wisconsin. It was for contemporary furniture. It was our Millennium product line. And you see a picture of a Millennium dining room. We don't make that group anymore today, but it was very advanced furniture technology. Also made bedroom furniture, and we did that in Arcadia for a while. So anyway, logistics has always been something that's important to Ashley, being located in Wisconsin. So another question is that I'm asked all the time, why are you located in Wisconsin? Well, my family came here in the mid-1800s, and we've always been here. And we have figured, what the hell, this has got to be the best place in the world to be, right? This is where you should be. Great people, but the fact of the matter is, you didn't have raw materials here, and you didn't have a market here. So we've always had to be big in transportation. And this is a picture of our intermodal yard in Wisconsin here. It's one of 8 intermodal yards that was started in 1992. We bring product in from all over the world and distribute them from this facility, but also other facilities too. But this is one of 7 privately owned rail yards in the United States. And, you know, we had looked at doing that in Mississippi too, but anyway, we have this in Arcadia, Wisconsin. Again, we're really in a material handling business, and transportation and logistics have always been important. So then my son Todd went to Asia in 1989, ran our Asian facilities, manufacturing, everything else. And in 1994, he wanted to get into upholstery. So we introduced leather upholstery in San Francisco in 1994, and had an unbelievable success. And we needed a upholstery facility. So we started looking all over the United States. We knew we probably couldn't manufacture in Wisconsin. We had figured out by that time, logistically, this wasn't the best place to be. We looked in the South, we looked in the East, we looked in the West, and in the East, Northeast, everywhere. And we came to Ecru, Mississippi. And there was a small plant there called Gimson Slater. It was a Canadian plant, and it was about to go out of business. It was about 130,000 square feet and had a little over 100 employees. And my son and I, who are from a small town here, went through the plant, and we said, boy, this feels really good. It was a small plant. We liked the community, and we purchased this plant and began manufacturing in Ecru, Mississippi in 1994, adding upholstery to our line. Now, we originally were going to add leather and start with leather, but after we studied it, we decided that upholstery was a better fit for us and started our upholstery operation. So in 1997, when retailers started going to Asia to buy furniture and were eliminating people in the United States, we figured, well, if they're going to go to Asia and buy furniture, we got to go to the market. We got to have an outlet for our furniture. So we started our Ashley Home Stores in 1997. And our first home store was located in Anchorage, Alaska. And you see a picture of the first Ashley Home Store that was opened there. Now, we've had many, many versions of this was what you would call maybe version 1. We're up to version 6 today. And I've improved these stores over the years. So I looked and I studied the furniture industry and other industries. And anyway, my goal was to build this company into a $1 billion company. And I set that goal in the very early 80s, and I had to grow at 22% compounded growth every year to make it in the last millennium by 2001. And we reached that goal. We became a $1 billion company. And, I had figured, well, I kind of reached my goal. I was at that time 62 years old, and I turned it over to my son to be CEO, Todd Wanek, who has been CEO ever since. Because I probably kind of lost my swagger, and I didn't really want to grow at 22% a year anymore. And anyway, Todd has continued that and did that up until the so-called Great Recession in 2008. Of course, our numbers are pretty big now, and if you look at what it takes to grow a business, adding even 10% every year, the amount of warehouses, trucks, equipment, people that you need, it's huge. So probably not really possible to build at 22% anymore. Now, you could acquire, but Ashley has never really acquired anybody. We did acquire that small company in Mississippi, in Ecru, in 1994, but it was a very small company. Other than that, it's always been organic growth for Ashley Furniture. In 2002, we started a huge manufacturing facility in Kunshan, China. It was about 1,600,000 square feet, and manufactured there until maybe a year ago. And about a year ago, it was no longer possible to manufacture in China. So we had been slowly moving our operations from China to Vietnam for about 10 years, and basically have moved out of China. We do retail there. We have about 250 retail stores in China, but we do very little manufacturing in China today. So in 2006, we became the world's #1 furniture manufacturer with about 2.5 billion. Today we do about 6.5, but if I wanted to calculate that differently, I could make it 10 billion. So we did in 2019 about 6.5 billion in manufacturing. And in retail, by the way, we do have a store in Tupelo, Mississippi. In 2007, we became the #1 retailer in North America with 2.1 billion. In 2019, we just did under 5 billion. Again, it became important. This is about 45% of our business that we do with our own stores. We have about 1,050 stores, and about 750 of them are in the United States, and the balance of them are overseas. But as retailers decided that they were going to deal with sources overseas, we decided that we had to go with our own retail business, which we did starting in 1997, as you saw. So today we have about 1,050 stores. And again, we do business worldwide in we sell our furniture in about 155 different countries, and we have stores in 55 different countries. In 2009, we launched Ashley Sleep. And right now, currently, we have a huge expansion program that's going on in Verona, Mississippi, and Saltillo, Mississippi. And thank you very much, Mike Armour and Greg Giacelli and David Rumberger for your help. Mississippi has always been a great place to do business. And anyway, you're among the best in the United States when it comes to cooperating with business, and we appreciate everything that you all do. 2016, we launched our outdoor furniture division, and that's been very successful. We're highly automated in what we do, especially here in Wisconsin in case goods. But one of the problems we have is technology is not kept up in the United States. When it comes to technology, in our opinion, the United States is number 5. You got Germany #1, you got Japan #2, you got South Korea, you got China, and then you got the United States. So finding skilled people in the United States is really, really a problem. And if you look like even the Toyota, which is located near you, they do all of their development and a lot of their technology overseas, and they do a lot of the assembly here. So we've been trying to upgrade technology in the United States, and I have to add that Tupelo, Mississippi has done a pretty good job. Your technical education system is among the best in the United States, and that isn't necessarily true in the United States, but you're doing a good job in Mississippi. In 2019, we opened our 1,000th home store in Del Mar, Delaware. And today we're celebrating our 75th anniversary. Ashley, of course, was started in 1945. 50 years for me in the business, but actually started in 1945, and 2020 is our 75th anniversary. But you change that. And this is our plant in Arcadia, Wisconsin. This was our largest plant. Today it's our second largest plant. Our biggest plant now is in Advance, North Carolina. And you see the little box there that says original plant. That was the original 35,000 square feet that we grew into. And today, this plant here is 67 acres under roof, or about close to 3 million square feet of manufacturing. Now, this has been expanded a number of times, but it's very efficient. It was always expanded, and so the production flow is very efficient. We manufacture case goods. We also manufacture upholstery here. It manufactures a variety of product, and that's what we call a super plant. So Ecru, Mississippi, you see the original plant there was 135,000 square feet, and that plant has grown to about 2 million square feet and has been expanded a number of times. One of these things about like the Arcadia plant and the Mississippi plant, they're not the prettiest plants, but they are efficient. As the business grew, we grew the plants, and anyway, this is 46 acres under roof here in Ecru, Mississippi. This is our Ripley, Mississippi facility. We bought that in 1999. A company that was going out of business, and purchased it That's about 873,000 square feet on a 34 acre site. Been a great plant for us. This is Verona, Mississippi. This is currently going to be manufacturing bedding. It's being tooled up right now. And this is Tupelo, Mississippi. This one also is going to be manufacturing mattresses, bedding. And anyway, just coming on stream right now. And again, David and Greg and Mike have been a great help to us, and we really appreciate it. This is Redlands, California. This was established in 2006. It's about 1,500,000 square feet. This is distribution only. This is Leesport, Mississippi, or Pennsylvania, and this is a super plant. It's about 1,700,000 square foot. It's a upholstery plant, and it serves the northeast. This is Brandon, Florida. It's corporate offices, and it's also a distribution center. Mesquite, Texas. It's 877,000 square feet. It's located on a huge site, and probably will be expanding it in the future. And this is our largest plant. This isn't right. It's 3.8 million square feet. And it was established in 2012. And it's currently being expanded again. And anyway, this is a large distribution plant. It manufactures case goods, and it also manufactures upholstery. This is Statesville, North Carolina, and it also manufactures case goods, manufactures RTA, ready to assemble furniture, and it's a growing part of the market today. It's primarily sold online, and a lot of the furniture is going online. I think you all know what's happening with Amazon and Wayfair and Overstock. We also are the largest supplier to those three companies. This is a plant that we have in Vietnam, established in 2014. Another plant in Vietnam, again, established in 2012. And another plant established in 2008, 10 acres under roof in a 40-acre site, which is quite large in Vietnam. And again, this is a Kunshan, China plant, which basically is not producing right now, but it was a very, very modern, up-to-date plant, but you can no longer be competitive in China, and the operations have moved from Kunshan, China to Vietnam primarily. So a positive balance of trade. Every city, every county, every state, every nation wants to bring more money to their country than leaves. As we said, Germany is probably the #1 company that believes in that. That's why they have the strong technology that they have. The same way with Japan, South Korea, and China. They all want a positive balance of trade. Unfortunately, that's been forgotten in the United States, and people don't really understand what brings money to an area. Manufacturing brings money to an area and enriches an area. So Ashley's impact on Mississippi, you can see the numbers there, about 230 million is contributed to the Mississippi economy. 3,700 jobs in North Mississippi, 830 million when you consider the multiplier economic effect. We deal business with about 440 vendors in Mississippi, and every manufacturing job with support generally creates about 3.4 jobs. And again, we sell our products in 155 different countries. We have over 16,000 jobs in the United States, and we have about 35,000 worldwide. So our positive manufacturing impact on the United States totally is about 2.7 billion, about 16,000 jobs, and the multiplier effect of that's about 10 billion. We do business with 7,000 businesses in the United States, And again, 3.4 jobs are created by one manufacturing job. Now that's according to the Manufacturing Association, National Manufacturing Association. We do business in 155 different countries. And it's a changing industry. Obviously, we started out with 1.0, Industry 1.0 in 1784 with water power, and later on we got steam power and mass production in electricity. Henry Ford's automobile line, mass production, and Industry 3.0. Industry 3.0 is like one robot working by itself. Okay, when you want to go to Industry 4.0 is when it really gets complicated. That's where all of these robots are working and talking to each other and working together and producing product. So we've got a lot of Industry 4.0 at Ashley, and when you have Industry 4.0, you face a skills gap, which is really, really terrible in the United States. Most high schools no longer teach industrial arts, as it was called when I was a kid. And the universities, I might add even the University of Mississippi, they don't invest what they need in their technical labs. To have a good technical lab, you got to spend about $3 million. And it's a business. When you look at a sociology class, for example, you can have a teacher. You maybe don't have to pay him the same as you would an engineer to teach a technology class. You can produce degrees at a much lesser cost than it costs to produce technology degrees. And it's one of the reasons today why the United States is really lagging, because the universities don't want to invest the money that they need in paying the skilled teachers, professors that they need, nor will they invest the money in the lab. Now, there's one state that's different, and that's Indiana. Indiana would be on par with Germany. And we've gone to over 100 different schools, universities throughout the world and looked at who is the best. So the skills gap is something that's really a problem today. And if the United States is going to keep up and be competitive and be a net exporter, they're going to have to change a lot of things. And it's estimated that there's about 2,400,000 positions that will be unfilled between 2018 and 2028. And that's a potential economic impact of $2.5 trillion. So I mentioned to you our educational initiatives. This person that you see on the right there is Governor Holcomb, and Governor of Indiana, sorry. You see a group of people that we took to see Indiana on a tour. Took a group from Florida. I might add, Florida is really behind in technical education. And a group from Wisconsin, and toured them to show them what a really good technology university looks like. Ivy Tech in Indiana is really by far the best in the United States. Now what Ivy Tech does is Ivy Tech's got about 16 universities. They're all on the same program. They all do the same thing. In Mississippi, you've got 15, and you got it 5, 5, and 5, which is pretty good. 5 of the technical colleges are basically on the same curriculum. Another 5 is on maybe the same. Another 5 is on maybe the same too. I'm not sure. I only looked at the 5 in your area. But anyway, it's a great program, and your governors have been really, really good over the years in supporting technical education. It's really smart. The picture on the left here is a meeting that we had in Wisconsin with Governor Walker, making a presentation to the educators in Wisconsin, trying to encourage technical education. So we have a lot of involvement in trying to get our governments to improve technical education in the United States, because we want the United States to keep the business in the United States and to be a net exporter of products. So again, I mentioned that Ashley has visited over 100 schools, universities, technical colleges in the United States and abroad. And the reason we did this is people always come to us and want support. Well, we're not going to give support unless we know they've got a good program and they're going to spend it in the right place. So that's one of the reasons why we spend over 4 years, spend a couple $1 million traveling educators around the world to show them who is really doing a great job in technical education. So what we found is continuous training opportunities are limited for current educators, modern equipment and resources limited in labs, low enrollment and rate for technical education. And I might add, a reason why it's so expensive to educate is if you got 6 people in a technical lab and you got 30 people in a sociology classroom, the numbers don't work out very well, do they? We need more people in the technical labs so that when they look at their cost per student, they want to do more in the technical area. But technical education is expensive compared to other education. Regional technical and learning centers are a success. Industry involvement is important for education, and I know you do that in your technical colleges. The cost of 4-year education is too high. That's why the 2+2 is really important. Or the universities will recognize the 2 years of technical college, but again, education is a business and they want to sell credits. Student time to complete a degree is too high. Like in Germany, they'll complete their degree in 3 years. Here it many times takes 5. Barriers between educational institutions. I mentioned in Wisconsin, we had 16 community colleges. They were all on different programs. They don't cooperate with universities, and it's really sad because it increased the costs and takes more time for the students to get through school, because if they want to transfer, their credits don't transfer. It's a real problem. 2-year technical programs are not encouraged to high school students. They encourage 4-year degrees, and let's face it, technical degrees are probably more desirable to industry than a lot of the 4-year degrees. And there's a nationwide shortage of technical teachers with current skills. Our Polytechnic University here at Stout used to graduate about 80 teachers a year in industrial arts. They don't call it that today anymore, but I call it that. Last year they graduated 8. So it's really fallen behind in the schools teaching technical education, having technical people available to teach, and it's a problem. So our educational initiatives are we've researched over 10,000. We have reached over 10,000 students with our programs here. We welcome 3,000 students and educators to our facilities. We do that in Mississippi also. We provided over $2 million in scholarships, and we had over 400 intern positions the last 10 years. Of course, our company has grown a lot, and we have more in recent years than we did in the early years. We offered 16 youth apprenticeships in 2018, and so we try and work and train people. VEX Robotics is something that we have in schools, and we'd like to do this in Mississippi too. We sponsor, I think we had over 500 kids that participated in VEX Robotics here in Wisconsin. And that's, of course, to get them exposed to technology so that they will want to continue careers in technology and go on to technical colleges or universities. We participate in Skills USA. I believe that you have some of your schools that have Skills USA in Mississippi, and we greatly support that, where the kids can learn skills, participate, and compete. Over the last 10 years, again, I mentioned we've had over $2 million in scholarships to offset higher education. And that's the students in California, Florida, Mississippi, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Texas, and Wisconsin. In addition to that, my wife and I have scholarship programs that we support for technical degrees. We also started this initiative in Wisconsin. We partnered with 4 local schools. We have a cooperative. We developed this laboratory. It cost over $3 million. and it goes from school to school, and it has all the latest technical equipment in. It can seat 30 kids, and it has all the latest up-to-date automation, robotics equipment so that the kids can learn. The problem is this is a better laboratory than the university or technical college you'll go to. We also, because we can't get skilled people, we have to teach them ourselves. So we have the Advanced Technical Makers Center here in Wisconsin that also like that. It has that skills laboratory that has all the latest technical equipment. And we bring our people in here and we educate them, in robotics and all of the technical skills that they need, maintenance, because we're not able to get it. And if we want to grow our company and be successful, we have to do it ourselves. About 6 years ago, Jim Dada, who was our vice president of manufacturing, went to Todd, says, Todd, I can't hire any technical people. Todd says, well, I guess you're going to have to grow them yourself. And that's when we went to research around the world to figure out who was doing whatever they're doing in education the best. And then we set up this Advanced Technology Center and Maker Center, and I've been running it for about 3 years now. Some of our social responsibilities, we have a huge charity event here. It draws about 70,000 people. And last year, when we were able to have it, it raised $2,400,000 for 60 nonprofit organizations. Arcadia is a town of about 3,000, and anyway, with this event, we get 70,000 people. We have this huge park here, which I think we'll see a video of here in a bit. We also have a Hope to Dream program. We give away mattresses. We've given away about 100,000 mattresses throughout the United States to needy children. And Ashley's Angels is something we're very proud of. It started actually in Ecru, Mississippi. One of our drivers started it to help kids that aren't going to have a very good Christmas. And this is run by our truck drivers around the country. And in 23 years, they've raised over $3 million and have benefited more than 20,000 kids. So this happens to be a picture when they're distributing products and gifts to the needy kids. By the way, the needy kids are determined by the area high schools, our schools, and again, this is run by our distribution centers. Started in Mississippi, and the teachers in the region around Ecru will give the names of kids that they feel are in need of gifts and clothes and other things. So that's how we do that. We're also heavily involved in medical research. We have a program on diabetes that we started about 3 years ago. In another 3 years, we want to have a cure for type 1 diabetes. I don't know if you know about charities, but the major diabetes charity in the United States gave about 5% of their money for medical research. We will not give money to something unless 95% of the money goes to medical research. So City of Hope is one of these institutions that we've got this big research program on, and we've pledged $50 million for that. In addition to that, some other funds are raised, but we hope to have this cure for type 1 diabetes in 3 years, and we feel that we will meet that goal. It's very optimistic that we're on schedule to do that. Heart research, Mayo Clinic is one of the best clinics in the world, which is near us in Rochester, Minnesota, and we have a huge heart research program. My son Todd and his wife started this, and anyway, we've had this in place for over 10 years now, and it's making great progress on growing stem cells to rebuild hearts. And so we're hoping for, we got a lot of tests that are going on around the United States that American Medical Association has improved. And anyways, Center for Disease Control has improved, and we're really optimistic about that. So about 1990, I started this park in Arcadia, Wisconsin. It's called Arcadia. It's called Memorial Park, and it salutes veterans. And I was kind of born at a right time, and I kind of fell in between conflicts or wars, and wasn't really challenged to be drafted. So I never served, but many of my friends did. So I wanted to build this beautiful memorial park, which was sponsored by the city of Arcadia, and all of the money has been donated to it, and the city maintains it. But this is a walkway that covers 500 years. Started in 1848, and it commemorates wars or conflicts that have started since the War of Independence in 1776 going forward. And as you walk down this walk, you'll be able to see different monuments that I have created over the years, and about 20 years of work. We don't do as much as we once did, but anyway, had about 20 years of extensive work and investment in this park. So I'm always asked, why are you still in business? This is on the back of my business card. The master of the art of living makes little distinction between his work and his play, his work and his leisure, his mind and his body, education and religion. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence in whatever he does, leaving others to decide whether he is working or playing. To him, he is always doing both. This was written by author James Michener. So with that, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I think you have a video of Memorial Park.
Jenny, you want to ask questions or hit the video? And then hit the video.
Up to you.
Let's do the video real quick, and then we'll take a couple of questions. And while she's queuing that up, thank you, Ron, so much for joining us. Here goes the video.
Arcadia is approximately 30 minutes from Winona, Minnesota, 45 minutes from either La Crosse, Wisconsin, or Eau Claire, Wisconsin, 2.5 hours from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and approximately 5 hours from Chicago. It's the United States' premier war memorial park outside of Washington, D.C. Soldiers Walk is a 500-meter walk that represents most of the U.S. conflicts and some of the most important individuals in its history, with monuments and granite pavers. It is modeled after the Great Walks in Paris and London and dedicated to all veterans that have served in the United States military. Mature trees enhance the beauty of the entire park by design, creating an outdoor sanctuary unlike any other. Among his many philanthropic contributions, Ron Wanek, founder of world-leading furniture manufacturer Ashley Furniture Industries, is the lead benefactor and designer of Soldiers Walk. Ron Wanek's admiration for veterans was cultivated during his childhood. Almost all of his teachers were World War II vets, and he remembered the stories they told him of the war. In fact, most of the men that he remembered from that time were veterans. Vets from the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, or Korea. To Ron, it seemed almost everybody he knew was a veteran. They were extremely proud Americans, and that pride and honor was infectious to Ron, who he's credited to helping make him the man and leader he would later become. Soldiers Walk allows its visitors to experience America's history in one contiguous location. It begins with an iconic monument of George Washington on his horse, representing the Revolutionary War. The walk's year-by-year chronicle of our nation's history of conflict begins in 1848, 1 year prior to Wisconsin's official admission into the Union, and continues through the year 2348. The 500-meter walk is 1,640 feet long, or just over 1/3 of a mile. When you factor in the rotunda at the beginning of the walk and the Millennium Amphitheater, the park's preeminent stage at the end of the walk, the length of the park is over 1/2 mile long. A walk through the park is a walk through time. 1 meter represents 1 year. Today, tens of thousands of visitors experience Memorial Park firsthand each year, honoring and learning about some of the most significant conflicts and historical figures in U.S. history. Since the United States declared independence, we have been involved in over 200 conflicts outside of our country. There is a plaque as you enter the park listing them all and what they entailed. Soldiers Walk places emphasis on the key conflicts and people that helped create this great nation of ours, with 28 monuments depicting 43 people in all. Memorial Park and its renowned walk are maintained by the City of Arcadia, members of the community, individual, and corporate donations. Memorial Park was established in 1989. Under the stewardship of Mayor Gene Killian, the City of Arcadia purchased land that would eventually become home to Soldiers Walk, an aquatic center, athletic fields, a kids' play area, Kids Kingdom, a visitor center, and additional public facilities for hosting family and community events. All of these facilities, the memorial, and all of the trees and benches throughout the park were donated. Ron Wanek, founder and chairman of Ashley Furniture Industries, along with Ashley Furniture's contributions, approximately $10 million, not including their time, which is estimated to be approximately 30,000 hours. Families honoring veterans and other loved ones have donated trees, benches, and other memorials in the park as well. The Arcadia Lions Club donated the Soldiers Walk Visitor Center, the pavilion, and the monstrous barbecue pit, considered one of the largest indoor barbecue pits in the country. Soldiers Walk got its start from Ron Wanek's original idea to build a memorial to Vietnam, just one monument modeled after the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. A lot of Ron's friends were in Vietnam, and he didn't like the way they were treated when they came home. The idea behind the memorial was to honor those who served in Vietnam, to give them the recognition they deserved. After the Vietnam Memorial, Ron had an idea for a concrete ribbon through the park that would honor America's conflicts and those that served. A timeline of sorts, a walk through history. This became Soldiers Walk, with 28 monuments depicting 43 people in all. An impressive statue of George Washington, America's only six-star general, resides on the northwest corner of the park in the Soldiers Walk Rotunda. The rotunda also has monuments that pay tribute to the Mexican-American War and the War of 1812. Nearby, there are statues honoring POWs and MIAs. As you stroll through the walk, you will see monuments honoring the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln, the Spanish-American War, Teddy Roosevelt, World War I, World War II, the Iwo Jima Memorial, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and the Persian Gulf War. The final memorial you'll see on the walk is dedicated to the War on Terror, when America was attacked on September 11th, 2001. The memorial features an actual twisted steel beam from one of the Twin Towers that was recovered from the tragedy at Ground Zero in New York City, shortly after 9/11. There is a Patriots Memorial, an eye-catching display of pillars topped by eagles at the entrance of the walk, and a 30-foot-high Angel of Mercy monument depicting a fallen soldier being lifted to heaven. It is made from a single piece of black marble weighing 50,000 pounds. Beautiful flower gardens are placed in front of each memorial in the middle of the walk, symbolizing the length of the conflict, while honoring and respecting those who served during that time. If the conflict was 4 years, the garden would be 4 meters long. The garden in front of the Vietnam Memorial is 11 meters long, representing the 11-year conflict, our nation's longest. Individual memorial tributes from local families are positioned throughout the park, honoring family and loved ones. Memorials and statues paying tribute to the pioneers that settled America are also included along the walk. A memorial featuring a draft horse being led by a man who is being observed by a boy and his dog pays tribute to the early farmers who pioneered this great country. The man's face is a likeness of Ron Wanek's father, and the children are renderings of his 2 grandsons. Positioned directly behind this monument is a tribute to the pioneer women who also helped build this great country. It's a bronze statue of a woman caring for her children with assorted feathered friends. There is also a fountain built into the memorial. The likeness of the faces pay tribute to Ron Wanek's mother and his granddaughters. Behind those monuments is the Millennium Amphitheater. The amphitheater is a 2,000-seat outdoor theater that is used throughout the spring, summer, and fall to host large community events both day and night. One such event is the Ashley for the Arts, held the second Saturday of every August. The music, art, and charity event draws more than 30,000 people and supports more than 20 nonprofit organizations. Performing artists have included the Beach Boys and Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. The amphitheater was inspired by Arlington National Cemetery. It was funded by a $1 million donation. The area behind the main stage is adorned with 2,000 bricks celebrating the year 2000, the new millennium, each of which can be purchased as a donation to the park and have custom inscriptions to memorialize individual events, birthdays, and more. The top fringe of the amphitheater is anchored by General's Overlook. This is a memorial designed to honor America's greatest generals. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the Supreme Allied Commander, is the tallest statue. It depicts Eisenhower as he is giving final instructions to the troops prior to D-Day. General Douglas MacArthur, commander of the Pacific Forces, is depicted as he is wading ashore upon his re-entry into the Philippines. John Blackjack Pershing, commander of the Expeditionary Forces in World War I, is depicted landing on the shores of Europe. You will also find statues of Ulysses S. Grant, our great Civil War general, Admiral Perry, John Paul Jones, also known as the father of the U.S. Navy. You will also find a statue dedicated to General George Patton with his bull terrier Willie at the base. Patton is depicted giving orders to his troops at Bastogne during Battle of the Bulge. General's Overlook also features the American flag at the top of the amphitheater and the 5 flags for the 5 branches of service, acting as a fitting backdrop to the end of the walk. Up on the hill above the amphitheater, you'll find the first non-commissioned F-16. It was decommissioned in 1992. The F-16 is known because it has been flown by the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. You will also find 2 155 howitzers and a tank.
All right, great video. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Ron. Let's take some questions real quick. You can either text them or unmute yourself.
Mr. Wanek, if you were going to give a little bit of advice to the Congress or to the President in layman's terms, what would you tell them from your perspective as a leading manufacturer?
They have to, we have a saying, fix the barn before you fix the house. Okay, that comes from my agricultural background, and you fix the thing that's going to make you money before you reward yourself with a nice lifestyle. And unfortunately, in our universities, we're fixing the house before we fix the barn, and we're not investing in technology. A lot of our university seats are filled with people from overseas, and I'm talking about not liberal arts. I'm talking about engineering and technology, and they go home, and we just aren't filling enough. We aren't filling enough of the seats with engineers and technology people in the United States. Now, they do listen, but it's tough to change the system. And in Mississippi, your governors have been maybe a little bit ahead of the rest of the country. You've been blessed by having governors that do understand that. But overall in the United States, and including Wisconsin, and I have to say the east side of Wisconsin, the Fox River Valley is pretty good. They have a pretty good education, technical education. That's the highly technical part of Wisconsin and the industrialized part of Wisconsin. But overall in the United States, we are not putting the emphasis that we need. We got to bring down the cost of education. Again, we talk about 2 + 2, and a lot of, there's a university in Florida. I'm a little critical of Florida, but it's called it's in southern Florida, and the kids graduate from high school with university degrees. It's Florida Atlantic University, located right outside of Miami, and we've got to get a little bit more. We got to get a lot more of that, so that we bring down the cost of education and we educate for the right areas. And anyway, that's not being done today. And again, we got to get industrial arts back in the schools and get them with the makers laboratories there, so that they're up on technology, and it doesn't have this dumb, dark, and dirty image, what we call the 3Ds. And we gotta change that. So that'd be the education or the message that I would give them, and I do give that message every opportunity I have.
Great question, Rob. Somebody else, another question.
Real quick one. You've had an incredible success story, wonderful advice, wonderful analysis. It's really been a gift and a treasure being able to listen to you. Looking back on where you came from in the most literal sense of the word, what about your upbringing and background helped you do what you've done?
Having great mentors. You know, also the situation in the United States has changed. You realize when I grew up, my father told me never build a business. That the highest tax rate was 92%. When Kennedy became president, he dropped it down to 52%. I'm not a Democrat, but I always, when my Democratic friends give me a little hard time every once in a while, I tell them Kennedy lowered the tax rate from 92 to 52%. And anyway, you know, allowing business to grow is really, really important, and invest. And again, you know, I've been fortunate, again, with the mentors at the right time in my life, starting out with a business that was just starting, and having the opportunity to work with the people that I've worked with over the years is what it's about. And our company is all about mentoring. We do a lot of mentoring. We bring people along. My kids, you know, I brought my son in. I could have stuck in there a while longer, but I looked at many companies, and anyway, the CEO stuck with it too long, and maybe didn't have the energy or the desire to keep investing and keep improving and keep reinventing the business. And fortunately, my son took off where I left off, and we have a third generation coming in. But it takes years. It takes years to get somebody to experience to run a business. And I'm fortunate to have had that time with my son, and I was fortunate to have those mentors early on in my career, starting at 20 years old, that had the patience and the desire to teach me, and I learned the business.
Great question. Let's take a couple of more. Well, I'll ask one that's been on my mind, Ron. You talked about education. You talked about what people need. What do you think the biggest challenges are politically in this country? Not to get into politics, but it seems like politics has gotten to be a dirty word on both sides. How do we do what's right and move forward as a country at this point over the next 10 years?
Well, you're right. You know, you have to be very careful today. There's a lot of, shall we call it, political correctness, and I guess that in the era that I grew up, we didn't have all of this political correctness, but a lot of people really don't want to speak up. They don't want to get involved, and you know, that's sad. But there's a lack of understanding. Again, I was born in 1941, and World War II was over, and after World War II, every small community wanted to draw business to their community, to bring wealth to their community. And they taught about economics and education. They taught what happens when you bring a dollar to a community and how it'll turn over to a community and what you have to do in a community. Economics is not understood. Civics isn't taught in schools anymore, and economics is not understood. People just don't understand where money comes from and how it's created. And, you know, some people might not understand what I'm talking about there, but, you know, unless people understand what creates wealth and what brings wealth to a community, this country is in sad shape. And, you know, when we send our dollars overseas, and we do some of it out of necessity. Customers, we gotta build something that a customer wants to buy. First of all, it's got to be the right design, then it's got to be the right quality, then it's got to be the right price, and then she wants it now. Over 90% of our furniture is purchased by females, by the way. But, you know, again, getting back to value and creating value, and it's tough in the United States, it really is. Because again, when you compare what it takes to manufacture overseas and what it takes to manufacture in the United States, there's a big difference. And the United States is really handicapped. It's gotten better in the last few years, but anyway, we hope it'll continue to get better.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Well, Ron, thank you, sir. We really appreciate your time. You do great things in the furniture industry, of course, but you really are a valuable asset in Mississippi, and we appreciate everything you do and your company does. Thank you for your partnership. I know I speak for all our guests and members here. It's a real honor to have you, and hopefully we can have you back again one day. And maybe once things get back to our better of a new normal than what we have, you can come by and have lunch with us at the Rotary Club in the next year. We would love to have you as our guest when you're in town visiting Pontotoc or one of your facilities in Ripley or Tupelo. So
well, thank you for the opportunity of being with you today, and thank you, Ron Ashby and David Rumberger and Greg and Mike. Thank you.